Welcome to my kitchen, and I'm all dressed for lab work today. This is an experiment you can use in the privacy of your own home. This is Red Star yeast. This is not the ideal thing to use, but it will work. So I took a container, one of the containers, opened it, put it in my green bowl, added some water, lukewarm water, and then added a little bit of sugar. Now I'm going to show you that we have a little bit of foam on top, and that's because the process of fermentation is going on, that the yeast is converting the sugar into two products, alcohol and carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide will be the foam there. Now we're going to take that and make that useful because we're going to make wine. This morning I did some calculations to figure out how much sugar I'd actually need to make a wine that was 12% alcohol, and I came up with what is equivalent to about a pound of sugar. And then I looked at, I had to do a lot of math on this and figured out how much sugar was actually in a container of concentrated grape juice frozen. So the reaction that we're going to look at today is sugar. Now this is glucose, and we're actually with a more complex sugar. This is sugar, and this is alcohol, and this is carbon dioxide. This little arrow means you go from the reactants to the products. Now I usually put over here, you put on that line, what makes it happen. And what makes it happen here is yeast. So we're going to take grape juice from the grocery store, put it in a clean container, and add yeast. And we're going to watch what happens. Okay. Here's the process. And you can do this at home. You just do what I've been doing. And we're going to take some Stop and Shop brand, that's a local grocery store, grape juice. Now I've pre-cleaned out this 1 gallon jug with Clorox and soap so that I could kill any microorganisms that have been growing in there. And we add this. There's a tremendous amount of sugar in there. And sugar is what we need to make these organisms happy and start to eat the sugar. Cut. Now we're going to add 2 containers of water. But actually I need what we call some headroom on top of this. Put both of them in. The reason I need headroom is that we are going to initially have a lot of bubbles happening, and we don't want the bubbles frothing over. So I'll probably fill this up about 2/3 with water. Just your regular tap water. Now, if I were a purist, I wouldn't, first of all, be using grape juice from the store. I'd be using fine grapes, and I'd also be using specialized yeast, but I'm not a purist. I'm a chemistry teacher. So we're just going to do this for the sake of demonstration. But we can add nutrients. There's some ammonium phosphate nutrients that you can add that will help the microorganisms to grow. That seems like about enough. And now I'm going to stir up this yeast and water mixture and add it to this little brew that we've got going here. So now the yeast is in there. And we know the yeast is active because there was a foam on top. That means that the yeast was able to eat the sugar and make carbon dioxide. Now this is probably something you don't have at home. I'm going to stir this a little bit. Little stirring action here. Pretty rapid. I'm going to use what they call a fermentation lock. And this is a pretty good piece of plastic. And what's going to happen here is there's a route for the air to come up, and it goes up here down through here and up through there. But I'm going to make a siphon type of arrangement. I'm going to put a little bit of water in there. Okay, now the water's in there, and I put the plug in there. What's going to happen as this begins to ferment, and I will top this up with water eventually, is that as the carbon dioxide gets generated, it's going to come up here, and as it expands, it's going to go bloop, bloop. So we'll constantly be having carbon dioxide coming out of this. But this actually acts as a barrier for other microorganisms to get in there, because other microorganisms can continue the conversion process of sugar to alcohol and have it keep going. The microorganisms can convert it then to acetic acid. It's an oxidation process, and the acetic acid is vinegar. So wine turning to vinegar is because microorganisms have mediated an additional reaction that oxidized the alcohol into vinegar. So we're going to watch this over a period of a couple of weeks. I'll eventually top this up a little bit, and there's a whole bunch of processes that we want to be aware of. And so you could do it at home if you want to, but some people take a balloon, and if you have a milk jug, you could use a clean milk jug, use any kind of fruit juice you want, and probably frozen so that it doesn't have any preservatives into it. That will keep the microorganisms from working. And then you could put the balloon on it, and the balloon will blow up. A lot of positive pressure there, and that will keep microorganisms from going in there. So this is a long-term, semester-wide class project.